This is me and my wife, Andrea, and we love transforming spaces. For the last 6 months, we've been in 2 other homes doing some of the biggest projects that we've ever put on YouTube.
This is gorgeous.
But now it's time for us to step back into our own home and do several projects that Andrea has been dreaming of. So welcome to the adventures of my DIY wife and her non-handy husband.
Before we get started, we want to say thank you to the sponsor of today's video, Alpha ESS. Alpha ESS sent us their Black B1000 portable power station, and this thing is so cool. It features over 1,000 watt-hour lithium battery capacity and 1,000 watt continuous and 2,000 watt surge power. It can power up to 12 devices simultaneously and has 2 USB-C, USB-A, carport, 2 DC ports, 3 pure sine wave AC outlets, and 2 wireless charging to keep your appliances full of power at the same time. I love the wireless charging feature. Simply place your phone on the 10-watt wireless charging pad. It can be recharged in 4 easy ways. From the wall with an AC adapter, from a USB-C adapter, from a car charger, or from solar panels. When doing a DIY project, I can use this thing to recharge a drill battery, charge an extra camera battery, or every once in a while I have a project where we are out away from a major power source where an extension cord doesn't even reach or would be a hassle to try and get a long enough one, and so this thing has made it easy to take it out there, plug in whatever it is I want to use, and get to work. I will say this would have also come in very handy during the snowpocalypse in Texas earlier this year when we went nearly 7 days without power. This would have made such a huge difference, being able to keep our phones charged, our laptop charged, maybe even plug in a small space heater or even a little cooking appliance. So if you're interested in checking out Alpha ESS's portable power station, be sure to click our link in the description below and use our code to get a discount on your purchase.
This week is a big week as we plan to finish off the playroom space. But before we could get started, we had some important things to attend to.
Yeah, it's a new day. It's a new day.
All right, where are we going?
A new restaurant just opened up a few days ago. Kava. It's like a Mediterranean Chipotle is what we hear.
And why are we starting the day out with lunch?
I had a 2-hour visit with a functional medicine doctor this morning, which is really exciting. We haven't talked a whole lot about this, but I actually have an autoimmune disease, ulcerative colitis. It's similar to Crohn's, and I have been meeting with this doctor to try and figure out how to get it under control, which also means I've been on a really strict elimination diet, which has meant hardly any eating out. That's why you haven't seen us at Jersey Mike's, all of the other delicious food.
Or Chipotle. So a lot of you may not realize that when Andrea is working super hard on these projects, oftentimes her stomach hurts, she's super fatigued, and she just soldiers on. And so I don't know if that can be an encouragement to some of you. It's not always fun and easy for her. So now you know a little bit more of why we're so excited about this restaurant. We've actually been anticipating it for about 2 months now.
It better be good.
And it better be good or it's gonna be really disappointing. Oh, and don't forget to pay for parking. All right, here we go. How is it? We're examining the DIY ability. Andrea has let me know that there's a thinner piece here with a thicker piece here. We're also looking at this board wall back here, and I was like, oh, you could have done that, babe. They should have hired you for that. And totally forgot to pay for parking. Oh, and don't forget to pay for parking. So sweet. All right, Kava, first round, honest thoughts.
It was great. I'm in the elimination phase of a diet. It's called the autoimmune protocol, so it's just really restricted, which can be a bummer. Most places I'm like, there's nothing I can eat. I can eat your greens, your salad greens with no dressing. All that to say, it was wonderful. I'm sure it's even better if you can get all of the delicious rice or whatever stuff you want on it and hummus.
Will we be going back?
Yeah, I thought it was good.
All right, so where are we off to next?
Back to Lowe's.
Oh!
Yay.
All right, what are we getting at Lowe's today?
I need to get some oak wood for the rolling library ladder that we'll be building, and I need some short screws to attach the bulletin board to the frame. I think that's it. Hopefully I'm not forgetting anything. Famous last word. I love plants, but I also am not very good at watering them and keeping them alive. But pothos are a lot more difficult to kill than something.
Love your lumber cart. If you have 4 kids, you know the frustration that this can bring when you're checking out.
After we got everything we needed from Lowe's, we were finally ready to head back to the house and get started.
How is it so hot in September? What happened out here?
All right, so this week we are ready to get this playroom finished. Yesterday, I grabbed one of our boys and had him help me carry in the table and chairs. High five! Good job, guys. You're strong. That's a heavy thing to lift. Boys, do y'all want to help me carry books into the playroom? Do y'all want to earn a little more money?
Yeah. Whoa.
What do you think?
Yeah,
You want to help me carry stuff in here? Okay, it's right
It
over
looks so different.
It's cool, isn't it? Yeah. You're like, oh, careful. After that, while Dean was editing, I went ahead and got all of the toys and books back on all of the shelves since the paint was good and dry, and this may look really fast in a time lapse, but I also took this time to sort through the books, get rid of all of the baby and toddler books that we've outgrown, and put them in a massive pile to take to Goodwill. So the next big task on today's agenda is to build a rolling library ladder on the bookshelves with all of the games, books, and toys so my kids don't have to climb on the shelves, potentially breaking the shelves and hurting themselves. And it's just a fun feature. Like, who doesn't want a rolling ladder? Like, I've wanted one for years, so when one of my kids asked for it, I pretty much said yes right away. All right, so several weeks ago, I ordered the hardware kit for the rolling library ladder from Rockler. Before starting building, I want to cut it open, see if there's any instructions, kind of get a better idea of what exactly I'm doing so I know what height to make the ladder. Look at that. Everything was going great until I tried opening the packaging that the rail was in and had just a little trouble. Why would you staple and tape that? I can't get it open.
Maybe it wasn't meant to be opened. There you go.
To like grab onto. I feel like a cat that's like clawing at something. Staples here, here, and the metal thing goes all the way to there, but I think I've got it. Ah, I got it.
Victory!
I win! Better not leave that for our kids. Once I finally got the rail out of the packaging, I grabbed the rest of the stuff that I needed so I could start attaching it to the bookshelves. Okay, these screws are massive, and so I need to drill some pilot holes before we actually try and attach those on. Ah! It's stuck. I would like to thank Rockler for actually doing a good job designing these hangers, because if you've ever hung like curtain rods where you cannot get to that screw, like the hole where the screw goes, and you're like holding your drill like this, but they've designed these to where you can access the screw straight on. I'm not getting sponsored to say this, I just actually really appreciate a good product, and so they've actually made a hole with a plug so you can access this top screw easily and straight on.
Link in the description.
I'll link it. I'll link what I use. Okay, so I got that top rail installed. That's what the hooks are going to hook onto, and so the ladder can slide back and forth. I'm going to go grab one of my sideboards for the ladder to try and figure out how tall I want to make it, because it is going to slant out like this, so it's not as simple as just measuring up and down. Plus I have to account for the hooks and then the wheels at the bottom, and that'll take a little bit of height away as well. Good thing I went out there. My poor little plant was in the back of the car still.
Just wilting.
I After figuring out how tall I wanted my ladder to be, I took the boards back outside to start cutting. Should you get my saw for me?
Sure. Oh, stay behind the cloud.
After cutting the first board, I brought it back inside just to double check that it was the right length. Alright, so I got the first side of the ladder cut. I'm gonna go ahead and trace that onto my second board and do those cuts before cutting all of the steps for the ladder. I also added these angled cuts at the top of each of the side rails, and one of the reasons I grabbed this saw in particular is because of its ability to make these 70-degree cuts, so I didn't have to make any kind of fancy jig to do this cut. Please don't hate me.
What's happening?
It wasn't a mistake. It was just, I had originally planned on not having the ladder go all the way up to the top. I was going to have it go up to that, you know, top shelf. So it'd be like 10 inches shorter, which meant that my scraps would have been 10 inches longer and would have been long enough to use for rungs. And my ladder would have been shorter, so I needed one less rung. So I had plenty.
Okay, it sounds like a lot of excuses, but get to the point.
For my rungs, I got a 6-foot board.
Yes.
But I need 6 rungs, and my rungs need to be like 14.5 inches wide.
But get to the point.
6-foot board is not long enough. We need to go get an 8-foot board. We gotta go back to Lowe's, and we don't have that much time, so we need to hurry.
And we're back.
We're back with like, what, 5 minutes?
We've got at least 10 minutes before we got to pick up the kids.
I'm building one ladder and I needed 2 low strips. That feels embarrassing. And have we said this already? It is our second child. It is his 10th birthday today. We're gonna take him to do something fun. Maybe to a trampoline park.
Maybe.
Something inside. It's too hot outside. So next step, before I cut the widths of all my ladder steps, I'm actually going to go ahead and route all of the edges on the sides and along my ladder steps, because I don't need to route like the short ends of them, so it'll be easier to go ahead and just do it while it's all one long board and then cut it down from there. So that might be all we get to though before we have to leave. Maybe we can route everything and then leave.
Sounds like a plan. Let's do it.
I don't remember the technical term for the bit I used on the router, but I added a rounded edge on all of the sides so that there wouldn't be any sharp edges. Before I could finish, it was already time to pick up the kids from school, and so Dean set up the camera and left while I continued working. Alright, so I finished routing and sanding these. Now I'm going to cut all of the steps for the ladder, and I'm doing them at 14.5 inches wide. After I cut the steps for the ladder, I gave everything a good sanding to finish off the day. I got those cut. I'm going to go ahead and sand these edges here where I've cut it just a little bit rough, and then I'll be done with all the cutting.
I, on the other hand, was picking up the kids and giving them the good news that we were going to a trampoline park. All right, so I'm going to pick up the kids from school, and this is kind of a regular routine for us. I typically go and pick up the kids from school, and Andrea's typically finishing off a project, so I'll set up the camera, let her run on a time lapse. I'm going to pick up the birthday boy! But today is extra special because it's our son's 10th birthday, so we're gonna stop working for the day and take them to a trampoline park! Alright, I've got a surprise for Levi's birthday. We're gonna go to the trampoline park! Woo! Yeah! Bouncing Hey, are you good, buddy?
Yeah, fine.
What's going on in there? This is the hurricane simulator.
Look at Levi's hair.
You boys have survived a hurricane.
Good job. After lots of fun birthday festivities, we started the next day by assembling the ladder. After marking where I wanted my first rung to go and using a spacer board with an angle cut on each end, I then used a clamp to hold it all together and drill pilot holes. Then I started attaching the steps using the screws that came with the rolling library ladder kit, but I ran into a little bit of a problem.
Alright, so what's going on here?
I'm having a hard time getting these really long screws in. I don't know, even with the pilot hole, I don't honestly know why. I mean, oak is a really hard wood, but I have some shorter screws. I'm gonna try those. I don't know if my pilot hole is gonna be too big for that though.
Goodness gracious, what kind of sound is that? You've always had a knack for making really strange sounds on the construction site with your power tools.
All right.
Hey, you got it.
Okay, so I ended up making just a little bit bigger pilot holes, and that seems to be perfect. Now I'm actually able to get the screws in. This is still really tight. It's gonna be strong, which is what we want with 4 kids using it. Once I finally had my technique figured out, I was able to make quick progress on the rest of the ladder.
One side done?
Yep. Once I finished the first side, I flipped it over and repeated the same process on the other side.
All right, is that it?
Almost. I'm gonna take it outside, stain it, but after the stain dries some, we can bring it inside and install the hooks and the wheels and get it actually in place. Our kids are gonna be so excited about this. After I finished assembling the ladder, I took it outside to stain it using Minwax's stain in the color Provincial. Oak is such a hard wood, I don't usually apply a wood conditioner first. I simply brush it on with a brush and then wipe it away with a lint-free rag. Alright, so I finished getting the entire ladder stained. I'm gonna leave it out here to dry, but I'm gonna let this dry while we move on to the next thing. Alright, so we're gonna go ahead and finish up this giant bulletin board. I'm gonna lay it all on the ground, trim off the extra fabric, and then I bought some short screws to screw the bulletin board onto the frame.
You left some goodies over here though.
Alright, the bulletin board is pretty much finished, except I need to grab hardware to actually be able to hang it on the wall. But this is kind of how construction and projects go, it is rare that I actually get to just finish one thing start to finish. Usually it's like there's a lot of moving parts and so you're jumping all around, which can feel a little bit crazy when we're trying to make it into a video, but it is what it is. We're almost done. Okay, so we're gonna do one last little thing. But when I was putting the ladder up here to see it, I realized that I installed this upside down. So my sliders are hitting that. If it's this way, you can slide, you know, past it. I'm gonna have to pull that down, turn it over. Hopefully I can use those same holes. I don't know though.
Hey, real life construction. You make mistakes.
Thankfully, simply removing the rail hardware and flipping it over and using the same holes worked perfectly, and so it was an easy fix. All right, it's a new day and we are finally ready to get all of these last little details finished on this playroom. Okay, so last build of this project is a little ladder for the little loft here, because before they were using the rock climbing wall to climb up there, and now they don't have a way to get up here. And so we're gonna build a simple little ladder, spray paint it black to match the railing, and then I'm sure this will be about as quick in real life as it is in my head.
Absolutely. There's no way this is going to take more time than you're thinking. No way.
I'm like, can we finish all of this before the kids get home from school and then surprise them with all of it finished?
That would be fun. All right, let's get to business, huh?
Yep. You know what that means, right?
No.
I need the saw.
You are always telling me this.
We are gonna build a table for it one day. Maybe soon, maybe the next project I'll finally do it. After measuring for the height of the ladder and then getting the saw out, I was ready to start making cuts.
You want it in the shade, ma'am?
Yes.
What are you looking at? I couldn't find anywhere in town that had a long enough 2x2, and so I ended up gluing and clamping two 1x2s together for my side rails. I also decided to add a small angle cut at the top of each side rail so that there wasn't that sharp corner to bump into. After the glue had dried, I removed the clamps and used a spacer board that I had cut to start marking where I wanted each rung to go. Then I drilled pilot holes to keep the wood from splitting and used wood screws to attach the rungs to one side. I then repeated the same process to attach the other side. Once it was all assembled, I gave it a good sanding with my random orbital sander. Then I laid it out on a tarp and spray painted the entire thing black. While that was drying, it was time to head back inside to hang up the bulletin board. Alright, so we're getting ready to hang the bulletin board finally. I've marked out where some of the studs are and kind of figured out about how high I want it. I'm going to put 2 screws into the studs first before attaching some D-rings onto the back of the bulletin board. That way I can mark out where the screws are on the wall and then put the D-ring hangers on the bulletin board based off of that. Uh-oh, that's not hitting a stud. That's not hitting a stud either. What in the world? I don't think my stud finder is working. Oh, that's... Whoa. What's the deal with this wall?
Should get some shorter screws. These are really long.
These steel studs or what?
After grabbing some shorter screws and finally getting those into the studs, I marked where the screws were on the bulletin board so I knew where to attach the D-rings. Normally you install these D-rings up and down, but since my board isn't wide enough, I did them sideways like this and it still worked fine. Ow! Okay, mine's on.
This is like a team building exercise.
After we finished installing the bulletin board, the ladder was finally dry, and so I brought that inside so I could install it. I mean, it's not going anywhere. While I still had my tools inside, I went ahead and attached these little wall baskets that I picked up at Hobby Lobby to the wall above the desktop.
Ooh, looky. Nice.
Party.
That's awesome.
Next, it was finally time to start adding the hardware to the rolling library ladder. First, I marked where the screws for the wheels would go so that I could drill a pilot hole. Alright, I'm gonna wait before I attach those top hooks. I'm gonna go ahead and bring the rugs in because I know they come pretty close over there, and I wanna make sure that if I need to put the ladder on the rugs that it's gonna roll okay. So I'm gonna bring the rugs in before actually making any permanent holes in the top of the ladder. Before bringing the rugs in, I laid down these rug pads that I ordered on Amazon that would keep the rugs from sliding around. Since this space is such an awkward size, I ended up using 2 5x7 rugs end to end to give the appearance of one long wide runner that fit the space perfectly. I decided that the ladder rolled a little bit too freely on the hard floors, and so I attached the hardware higher up so that it would roll on the rug instead. Nice.
Wait a minute. Did you make this for the kids? Or
Here,
did you
I need
just
a
make
game.
this for
Look, I got
yourself?
it. I got the game. I needed to climb on the ladder. With the ladder fully installed, it was finally time to bring in the rest of the finishing touches. This is the same fabric we had in here, so I undid all the safety pins and washed it, so it's nice and clean. I think it looks fine. But my sewing machine's broken. I'll say that's my excuse. I'll eventually add some artwork, maybe originals by our own kids, to the walls, but for now we were ready to reveal this space to our kids.
Come and see your new playroom! I'm getting on the ladder! No! Ah! Connected?
Well, unbelievable job on this playroom. When I think about the 1001 details that you put into this, it looks incredible. And I think it's such a great example of how you can take a vision for your own space. And if you're willing to put in the hard work, you can make it whatever you want to make it. And that's kind of the story of this channel. So nice job, girly.
Yeah, this definitely took a lot longer than I thought. We're 4 weeks into this project, but it is so good to get to the finish line, see it all finished. It looks so good. The space feels so different, but I love all of the details. The rugs and even the way they fit in there, and then the new pillows on the bench, and all of our kids love it. And so I'm happy we're done, and I'm inspired and ready to move on to the next project.
So that's all for this playroom makeover, but we have a very exciting project coming up next week, and we will catch you in the next episode.
get over it. I can't see.
Use your mirror. Sorry.
Well, I can't.
I know. I was holding it in front of the mirror. Doctor, what are we doing today? Get it when it comes off. Careful, babe. What's going on?
Watch out.
Girly?
I love this room.
Should I have said that later, you know?